It is the day of decision here at the HyundaiNVirtualCup USA Regional Qualification process. It is day 2 of 2, and tonight we will decide which 20 drivers will be moving on to our regional final. Our journey starts here at the Autodromo Internazionale del Mugello, and we will continue on across to Zandvoort. My name is Evan Dalton. It's a pleasure to be back with you here for the HyundaiNVirtualCup. As always, is Kieran McGinley. Kieran, it is our third night together, fourth night of competition, and it's been fantastic so far.
I mean, absolutely. You know, what Monza taught us in the US version of this was that there was going to be absolutely fantastic racing across the pond from us. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what our drivers can offer us today.
Yes, it is bound to be an absolute corker throughout the evening. It's the same format. We'll have 2 prelims and then a main race, but we will run you through all that in a moment's time. Qualifying will be coming up shortly for Prelim A in Mugello, but we just got a little bit of business to address first. Of course, the HyundaiNVirtualCup on the Assetto Corsa platform, the Hyundai Elantra N TC, the car which Kieran will be running you through in a few moments' time. Over 100,000 US dollars available to be won in our process. Pre-qualification has been completed, of course. Our regional qualification will be completed soon. Then it moves on to the regional semi-finals, where the top 20 from each region will race for a chance at the world final. The top 5 from each region will move on to South Korea for the first ever HyundaiNVirtualCup World Final on January 11th. So, our European qualification stage has been completed. Our US regional qualification stage will be completed tonight. Korea then starts on November 27th and November 30th, and then our China regional qualification process starts on November 28th, and it will conclude on the 1st of December. So, the format for this evening: 10-minute qualifying followed by a 15-minute race for Prelim A. We'll repeat that for Prelim B. Then we will move on to the main race, where the top 10 from each Prelim will advance to race for points, and that will be a 10-minute qualification once again, followed by a longer 25-minute race at Circuit Zandvoort. So the point system then is as follows: 25 for the win, 20, and then 16, 13, and 11. 10 if you get 6th, then it's 9, 8, 7, and 6 if you get a 10th place finish. That's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, all the way down to 15. If you are unlucky to finish lower than 15, it'll be a no score for you, unfortunately. However, there is bonus points on offer: 2 for the fastest lap, and 3 if you manage to take pole position. And then, of course, our $100,000 prize pool is divided into separate categories. There is $7,705 on offer per region in the regional semi-finals. There is $62,000 on offer for the Drivers' Championship, and then $11,000 on offer for the Region Championships. And more important to some, of course, is that all-inclusive trip to the World Final in Korea on January 11th. So, that's the bit of housekeeping completed. I'm going to hand it over to Kieran to discuss our circuit of play. Oh, sorry, apologies. We have our standings, of course, to run through. And it is Michael Menning who was dominant at the last race in Monza. 30 points. He already has qualification into the next round in his back pocket. Ricardo Rivera then in second, Kurt Van Altenrooyd in third. Copono Patrick in fourth on 13 with Jordan Johnson in fifth, and it is Tyler Lims-Nuken in sixth ahead of Nicholas Iverson in seventh. Braden Werner then in eighth ahead of Jesse Hoffert in ninth. Paul Verbunen then in 10th position. Then Drew Swank got an 11th place to finish ahead of Zach Doran, Josh Ross, Brad Lane and Sebastian Baez in 15th spot. Any other drivers did not score points. It was a no score for them on last Thursday night, but they'll be looking to pick up some points here this evening. Kieran, Mugello, take us through it.
Mugello then, probably more famous for being a circuit that's focused on two wheels. Today we take four wheels on to the 5.245 kilometre circuit that's got 15 turns. We started racing here all the way back in 1974, and of course you'd be gravely mistaken for the lack of yellow all around the circuit. Yes, Valentino Rossi in his prime in the mid-2000s winning Mugello like it was easy in the Italian Grand Prix of the FIM bikes. But of course today we have our Hyundais out there. It's a sweeping circuit in the heart of Tuscany here, so it very much depends on making sure you get the most out of the car through these mid and high speed corners. With a 1.1 kilometre straight down towards the first corner, it's certainly a place where you can get some overtaking done, but it means that you've got to have a car that can do the business there. And to match that 1.1 kilometre straight, we have the Hyundai Elantra N TC, I should say. 350 brake horsepower with a top speed of 248 kilometres per hour, so that 1.1 kilometre straight will be well and truly tested. 0 to 100 kilometres an hour in about 4.5 seconds. This car made its debut in 2021, and of course it won the Nürburgring 24 hours on its first attempt. It's since then been a 3-time winner at the Nürburgring, and it's been a WTCR driver and team champion in 2022 and taking a TCR World Tour Driver Championship in 2023. This machine, the Elantra, really known for its balance between performance and precision, and that will help it coming into Mugello, where you've got the high speed corners and medium speed corners that will really test the driver's bravery about how much speed they take through each corner that will help them achieve the fastest laps possible. But a great driver and, well, track combination with this car should give us some great lap times and some great racing upcoming.
Yes, it's bound to be an exciting one, but before we get to the racing action, you've got to qualify, of course, and we will see who will start on pole position. Currently, with 2 minutes and 30 left to go in Prelim A qualifying, it is the ever-dominant Michael Menning at the top of the order for Samatha Racing Esports. The 2024 SROI GTC Silver Champion, of course, Michael Menning, and he's looking to become at least the top US driver here in the HyundaiN Virtual Cup. 30 points scored last time out on race day 1, pole position and the fastest lap. There's certainly a target on his back, Kieran.
There is a target on his back, but I think he's dealing under that pressure quite well. You know, we spoke to you at the end of our previous proceedings on the Thursday night, and he was pretty confident as well. And he's already got a 3.5 gap over the like of Johnson as well. So it's a case of he's just got to make sure he continues to have that confidence behind him, bring that into getting into the top 10 and take that momentum onto the race at Zandvoort to wrap up qualification in a neat little bow. As you said, for Michael coming into tonight, he's pretty much got it wrapped up. He managed to get the clean sweep last time around, the pole position, fastest lap and the race win in the main race last time out. So I'm sure he'll be looking for repeats and making it absolutely all points possible scored.
Yes, and it wasn't even close in Monza, really. So if he is as good as this Italian track as he was as good as Monza, this could be a little bit of a procession, certainly from Michael Menning's perspective. But the rest of the order is fairly bunched up. Jordan Johnson is there in second place, Ricardo Rivera in third. Then it's Braden Werner in fourth, out of Kurt Van Uitenrode in fifth. Then it is Shane Ross down in sixth, out of Tyler Lims-Nuken in seventh. Quapono Patrick in eighth, out of Jesse Hoffart in ninth. Then it is John Moyer, who is behind, Jonathan Moyer, I should say, who is behind, ahead of Silvio Mancone. And then it is Eric Flassballer down in 12th position. So 1 second separating the top 8, well, just about the top 8. Quapono Patrick 1.007, but 1 second separating the top 8. It's fairly close around this long 5.2 kilometre circuit. That is Braden Werner, you can see on your screen, sporting the number 29 for WSR Esports.
Yeah, and looking right now to try and improve on fourth fastest right now as he goes across the line to start, or at least to finish off this lap. Quapono Patrick across the line as well. State 8th fastest in qualifying. Then Von Altenried still on a flying lap. There's Jordan Johnson, who can't improve on second place right now, so at least he'll start on a front row grid, I should say. at this moment in time. But what of the likes of Jesse Hoffart in 9th fastest right now? And Jesse's just making his way through in towards the sweeping chicane here, which is towards the end of the lap as he makes his way darting through then onwards towards closing off this lap, then through in towards that final corner, this long left-hander of turn 15, as he'll then get back onto the power of these front-wheel drive, 6-speed sequential Elantras. Then he charges all the way up to the line. Can he make an improvement on 9th fastest at this stage? It's a long way towards the line to try and find out, and all the time you're looking at the delta. No, can't improve on position there for Jesse Hoffart, so remains 9th fastest.
Yep, Jordan Johnson concluded the session in 2nd position. Michael Menning is just rounding through turn number 12. Now the Corteao corner. All the corners here at Mugello, they have 2 reasons for the name. Some are ex-motorcycle racers, and then some are named after the farms that were here in the area before the track was built. Michael Menning won't be able to complete the lap, but I'm sure there'll be no issue there, as he will start on pole position. And once again, a dominant display.
Yeah, expect nothing less than from Michael Menning at this stage, and really putting himself on the radar going in towards these semi-finals. I mean, we're talking about like he's already there, and he's got the 30 points. It's looking very, very comfortable for him at this stage. And already he's looking to make himself a strong contender for the United States region in the latter stages. But here's your qualifying then, and your grid for the race.
Yes, it is Michael Menning who's on pole position ahead of Jordan Johnson in 2nd. So an intriguing front row. Ricardo Rivera has qualified in 3rd ahead of Braden Werner in 4th. Kurt Van Otenreid and then in 5th. The Shane Ross in 6th position. Tyler Lims-Nuken starts in 7th with Quapono Patrick in 8th. It is then Jesse Hoffart in 9th ahead of Jonathan Moyer in 10th. Silvio Manconi in 11th ahead of Eric Flassbowler in 12th. It is then Ronald Zaras who will start from 13th ahead of Sunkara in 14th, and then it is Akira Yamuchi who will start from the back in 15th spot. So, Jordan Johnson, main goal here, Kieran, I suppose, is to have a go at Michael Menning down towards the turn 1 of San Donato.
Yeah, as much as he can. Of course, Michael Menning, we've seen how quick he's been. It's a case of trying to get in front of him at the very earliest stage, and turn 1 is going to be that perfect opportunity. If he can try and use that little bit of slipstream that Michael Menning might produce down towards turn 1, try and find the inside line, or maybe try and hang it round the outside of the first corner for the likes of Lucio and Poggio Secco to try and see if he can run side by side with Menning at that point. It's going to be difficult, but not impossible. And of course, at this stage, all the drivers here are just looking to secure that place in the top 10. So will they race each other hard for the lead? I'm not too sure. Will they race each other hard for 10th place? You better believe it.
Yes, for any of the drivers who did not advance to the main race in Monza, Shane Ross being one of them, had quite a high qualifying position. If you don't qualify to the main race here, unfortunately, that is the end of the road for the HyundaiNVirtualCup. It is do or die for some of these drivers at this point in the competition. So they're going to be fairly racy and probably a lot more under pressure than Laguna Seca, Kieran.
Yeah, I would have said so. Yeah, the pressure does mount then. If you didn't get there before, in the previous rounds, it's imperative that you get there now. Give yourself the best opportunity to get into the semi-finals. But we're counting down then to the start of our first race at Mugello for the Prelim A race.
Yes, it's been a good weekend for Hyundai in motorsport. Let's get race day 2 of the US Regional Qualifications underway here at Mugello as we go racing in Italy. Good start from Jordan Johnson off the front row. Great start from Michael Menning as always, but he's going to be slipstreamed all the way down towards turn number 1, up the crest, down to descent. Michael Menning under a little bit of pressure here from Jordan Johnson in the number 12. Menning defends in towards the first corner. Jordan Johnson under pressure from the number 53 of Ricardo Rivera behind, but Jordan Johnson's just got a much better run for the corner than Rivera, under no pressure now, but he is still right on the tail of Michael Menning. Menning was almost gone away at this point in Monza. Little bit of squabbling a little bit further behind. That's the number 64 you can see making the move.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's all just trying to get this squirm and skirmish through then, as that's Jesse Hoffart trying to find the way around then as we make our way onwards and upwards then. Yeah, a good start from Michael Menning then, did all he needed to do at that stage, and as we head our way through Casanova and Savelli, as we make our way towards that long left-hander of Arrabbiata 1 through Arrabbiata 2 as well, it's been a pretty decent start from all involved.
It has been fairly clean. We've had no incidents here on the first lap, and that's crucial for some of these drivers. There's Braden Werner, you can see rounding through, currently 4th place here in heat. He finished 8th overall last time out in Monza, so he has 8 points to his name. Qualification, not necessarily crucial, but if he could do it, if he could qualify for the main race, he would be going the right way about things. Michael Manning starting to stretch his legs a little bit as we head in towards the Bialdetti chicane for the first time. Jordan Johnson still there in 2nd, Ricardo Rivera in 3rd, and then of course Braden Werner, who we're having a closer look at, is in 4th position. It's all a little bit closer in the further back. We'll get full confirmation of the positions as they stand as these drivers cross the line.
Yeah, absolutely, and they'll make their way across the line. But we do know Michael Menning is at the top of the order. Did anybody get surprised at that stage then? Menning leads them from Jordan Johnson in 2nd place. Then it's Rivera in 3rd place, with Braden Werner rounding off the top 4.
Yeah, Braden Werner rounding off the top 4. Kurt Van Otenried there in 5th. Quapono Patrick making a move past Shane Ross. That's 7th spot, making the move up ahead of Shane Ross. Jesse Hoffart in 9th, and it's Jonathan Moyer in 10th. Silvio Mancone and Eric Flassballer 11th and 12th, and would be out of the competition as a whole as it stands provisionally, of course. Ricardo Rivera in 3rd, you can see there, starting to really put the pressure on Jordan Johnson now. Michael Menning is becoming the maestro once again, and he is extending the race lead, 1.7 seconds, but I tell you what, there's a snake of cars snaking their way through the Arrabbiatas here, and that is the battle from 2nd all the way down to 9th.
Yeah, isn't it just? And it's just allowing Michael Menning to pull away, just like he did in previous races, just allowing himself and, well, allowing all the others behind him to battle away, squabble for position and lose them time, as Ricardo Rivera pretty much really under pressure from Braden Werner at this stage of the race then. Werner maybe perhaps looking to just fill the mirrors this time around, not quite close enough to find a way through on this occasion, but he's got to be careful because someone like Kurt Van Otenried could really turn up the wick and really try and find a way past. It's a case for Werner here. He has to make sure that attack doesn't have to become defence in this stage. He wants to put the pressure on Rivera, not feel the pressure from Kurt Van Otenried behind.
Here's Kurt Van Otenried, 4/10 of a second off Braden Werner, is only 3/10 a second off Ricardo Rivera. Ricardo Rivera, you can see there in the opponent cam, that's Braden Werner just south of him on the right hand side of your screen. Werner hoping that there's probably a little bit more horsepower in his Hyundai Elantra as of now. However, we are side by side. That's Tyler Limsnukan who's diving down the inside of Kurt Van Otenried, and they got very close to the apex for a second there. Quapono Patrick just sitting pretty right behind and hoping to pick up the pieces in front. Quapono Patrick not able to sneak around the outside just there. Tyler Limsnukan and Kurt Van Otenried still racing. Limsnukan losing out in the battle with Kurt Van Otenried, and now is under pressure from Quapono Patrick. And is Patrick going to try down the inside? No, he isn't. He's not that brave, a smarter man than to dive in towards turn number 4 and 5. A good run here through Casanova and Savelli. He might be right on the back into the back part of the circuit.
Might be indeed, riding on board then with Quapono Patrick as he's looking to try and see what he can do against the likes of Tyler Limsnuka then through this long right-hander then as we make our way through the Arrabbiatas. Then we'll head our way towards Scarperia and Palagio. But still, Quapono Patrick, again, if you're in the top 10 at this stage, you know, you've got the likes as well of Shane Ross behind in this battle. Perhaps these drivers are not putting each other under this pressure at the moment, similar to what we saw in Europe yesterday as well. The fact is that these drivers know they're in the top 10. They don't have to make these diving moves down the inside. It's just a case of securing your place in the top 10. Of course, maybe when it gets to the end of the race and you feel like you're done following that car in front, might be a different story. But these drivers have done this before. They're happy to do it again. They just need to get themselves in the top 10, focus on the race later on. But I mean, when you're looking at this battle here, if you're following the car in front and you're just think, I'm done following you, I'm going to get this move done. Yeah, we might see that later on in the race.
Yeah, the only thing is for the likes of Quapono Patrick and Tyler Limsnuken, they're in good positions overall here, 4th and 6th in the point standings provisionally. If you're the likes of Shane Ross and Jesse Hoffart, who have not got a point in the board and are at risk of being knocked out of the competition, you're probably going to be a little bit more eager to go for moves than to get yourself further up the order. So there's a balancing act for the likes of Limsnuken and Patrick here. You don't want to be overly aggressive and risk yourself a possible advancement, but you also don't want to be so casual and so relaxed that you lose out to those who are that little bit more eager.
Yeah, absolutely. You've just got to make sure you race your own race on that occasion. Just make sure you do you. And if that just means securing that top 10 place, then that's all that means. And we've got Tyler Limsnuken here being followed closely behind by Quapono Patrick as we make our way through, once again, through in towards these long right-handers. Then with just under 8 minutes on the clock to go, again, these drivers are just making sure they settle themselves into their own race. And that's really weird to say for a 15-minute race, just to settle in, but it's so true. This is a high pressure scenario. You need to make sure you get into the top 10 to give yourself the best possible chance of scoring those vital points in the later race upcoming today when we head to Zandvoort for the main race.
Michael Menning, your race leader, 3.4 seconds over Jordan Johnson in second. Ricardo Rivera in third, and Braden Werner, who just shot past your screen, in fourth position. Kurt Van Ottenried in fifth, Tyler Limsnuken sixth. Then it is Quapono Patrick, Shane Ross, Jesse Hoffert, Jonathan Moyer, Silvio Manconi, and Eric Glassbowler. Your top 12 as of now. Braden Werner, 0.3 of a second behind Ricardo Rivera. These two more drivers in good spots, but once again they might start to battle here a little bit. Maybe just because they want to, because third and fourth, they're not running too much risk here. The only risk would be a collision, but we haven't seen an awful lot of them so far in the campaign. Your biggest loser from the race positional wise is actually Shane Ross, who had a stellar qualifying in 6th. He's down to 8th, however, and doesn't want to lose out in that spot to Jesse Hoffert or to Jonathan Moyer, but a comfortable performance from Ross so far. You can see Werner and Rivera back on your screen, and this is the closest squabble in the field right now.
It is indeed, as Braden Werner trying to close in once again on the likes of Rivera up ahead. Ricardo Rivera holding on to that top 3 spot at the moment as we watch on with Werner, who set his own personal best last time around, that 56.3. As we make our way over that slight crest here, is a lot of sweeping corners here, so it can be tough to try and close in to the car ahead. There's not many heavy braking zones here at Mugello to try and get a move down the inside. I mean, you've got the first corner at San Donato. It could be a really good opportunity there, but when you're talking about these long sweeping corners, you're talking about being very patient. At some point you might have to take a different line from the driver ahead just to try and maybe get a little bit of a better exit out of one particular corner to make sure you get the momentum you need to make the move stick, especially through the final corner and out on towards the start finish straight on once again to the run towards the first corner. Again, that could be a place where you take a slightly deeper line in towards the corner, but it lets you get the power down earlier so that you can have the run down the start finish straight up towards the first corner. Once again, Michael Menning across the line to lead the way then. Healthy lead right now for Michael Menning, and to be honest with you, if you thought any different going into tonight, well, that might have been on you.
Yeah, Michael Menning, phenomenal from start to finish. Gap has closed a little bit to Jordan Johnson, but I can't imagine that will last a long time. Here's Silvio Manconi and Jonathan Moyer, who are scrapping. Moyer in front in the purple and white, and then it is Silvio right behind here in the traditional Hyundai livery, and it's going to be a dive down the inside from Silvio in towards San Donato, and that is brave. Silvio putting himself in qualification position, and that is exactly what he needs to do with 4.5 minutes to go. Both of He's on the chopping block, and I tell you what, this could be a fight for the ages if we let them get scrapping. The 84 is ahead of the 27 for the time being. Silvio not racing for a team, Jonathan Moyer racing for the Arizona N Club. This could be good.
Oh, it could be very good. This is the battle we need to be watching here. A place in the top 10 on the line here. And Silvio Manconi with a good move down the inside of San Donato, the first corner. But look right behind him, because Jonathan Moyer is not going to let that go lying down then, looking for, again, just somewhere that he can put the car. Somewhere that he can put the car. Might be a different place to where Silvio is putting the car, and might be that advantage that he needs. But look at this right behind him now, looking for a move now around the outside, then on the right-hand side. Sorry, the inside corner, as Manconi loses that back end, has to apply the throttle there to regain control, and Jonathan Moyer goes back into 10th place. Really good stuff between them, and this is for an all-important 10th place. This is to make it to the main race at Zandvoort later tonight.
Yes, Silvio with a little bit of a heart-in-the-mouth moment, I think, heading through turn number 10 and 11, but he is still within the second, behind Jonathan Moyer in front, and in all honesty, doesn't have an awful lot of time left. Probably only 2 more laps, really, to make an impact and to keep himself in the HyundaiN Virtual Cup. The 84 rounding through the final corner of Bucine, and he's tucked into the slipstream now. Jonathan Moyer in front, and Moyer's had a very, very poor exit. Silvio's going to try go for this down turn number 1 once again, and you can see him pivoting for the outside line. Jonathan Moyer are going to keep it planted on the inside. Got to be careful they don't squabble too much, or they could invite Eric Glassballer into the fight here. Jonathan Moyer on the inside, Silvio Manconi on the outside, and Silvio is going to try the long way this time instead of down the inside. This is an opportunistic move because it's a much longer route through the corner around the outside, and Silvio will not get it done on that occasion. He will have to wait. Cannot afford another mistake like we saw in the last lap, though.
Absolutely. It's vital now that he gets himself past Jonathan Moyer. Moyer doing well there to keep Silvio Manconi behind as we make our way now through in towards Borgio San Lorenzo, as we'll make our way now towards the sweeping chicane, this downhill chicane of Casanova and Savelli, before we head away towards the Arrabbiata section. The 2 right-handers there as Silvio Manconi runs a little bit wide on the exit of Savelli there. Might cost him a little bit of time there and possibly a little bit of momentum. Was talking about how you've got these medium and high speed corners. The last thing you want to do is lose a bit of momentum, because there aren't many low speed corners or heavy braking zones. There's not many chances where you can regain that composure, regain that momentum if you run slightly wide, if you dip a wheel onto the grass. Consistency here is so important.
Yeah, that's a brilliant point you make. Consistency is so important, because Silvio is quicker. He's the quickest of the two, but Jonathan Moyer is not making any mistakes, and that may be why he advances. Ricardo Rivera is a cool customer. A drink on the straight while you're in a battle. Yep, there's absolutely no issues from Ricardo Rivera here. He's not panicking at all, although he might have to panic. I thought he was going to run a little bit wide for the corner, but just about survives and keeps Braden Werner right behind. 1/10 separating these two. 53 seconds on the clock, so this will be the last trip round Mugello for these guys, and they're just going to bring it home here in 3rd and 4th place. But Braden Werner, I don't think, is thinking about bringing it home, because he seems to be pushing a lot more than Ricardo Rivera is. Rivera running a slightly wider line through there and cutting into the corner rather than hugging the apex, but stays ahead for the time being.
Indeed he does, and Rivera just making sure he locks this position down, as Jonathan Moyer looking to lock down position number 10 and secure that place in towards the main race later on tonight. Silvio Manconi trying to throw everything at him to try and find a way past. There's no way through right now, as we head away through the left-hander, I believe, of Materassi and through Borgio San Lorenzo, and once again they'll find their way through in towards Casanova and Savelli. But once again, it is Jonathan Moyer who is still ahead right now, but we'll have a chat, or we'll have a look at Michael Menning, I'm sure, who will be rounding in towards the final couple of corners to try and wrap this heat in a neat little bow. But top 10, we've got to watch out for this one.
Yes, we do. Jonathan Moyer driving some steady lines. It's now or never for Silvio. He's got to give it absolutely everything. Any ounce of pace he's got left in the car, any last bit of effort, he's got to go for it. But menacing Michael Menning is weaving his way towards the main race this evening, and there's not a worry in the world on the leader. He's definitely the favourite and tipped to qualify for the regional finals. It is Jordan Johnson who comes home in second, Ricardo Rivera there in third, Kurt Van Autenried in fourth, Tyler Limbs-Nukin in fifth position. We got to keep an eye on Jonathan Moyer and Silvio Manconi, but in all honesty I think it's going to be Jonathan Moyer who's going to be the one to qualify rather than Silvio. There's 0.2 of a second separating them as I imagine they're on the run towards the line. Oh, here we go. Can Silvio Manconi potentially win a drag race to qualify? No, Jonathan Moyer's got the exit, and composure the order of the day for Jonathan Moyer. His precision and his lack of mistakes is the reason he'll advance, Kieran.
Yeah, and he made that look easy, didn't he? That was a huge challenge then from Silvio Manconi. And for Silvio then, I wonder what might have been. He might have been kicking himself for that slight mistake he made. And he was pushing hard. You could see that, how hard he was pushing to try and get that position back. But at the end of the day, Jonathan Moyer held his own, held on to that top 10 spot, and has booked his place towards the main race at Zandvoort later tonight.
Yes, we'll get full confirmation of your results in a few moments. Of course, the stewards are investigating things in the background, but in all honesty, I didn't see anything to raise suspicion in that prelim race. They might have seen something different, but I can't imagine there'll be any penalties handed out from it. Here is your race results then, and it is Michael Menning on top as per usual. Jordan Johnson in second, Ricardo Rivera comes home in third, Braden Werner in fourth, Kurt Van Autenried in fifth, Tyler Limbs-Nukin in sixth, Quapono Patrick in seventh, Shane Ross will advance in eighth out of Jesse Hoffart in ninth, Jonathan Moyer in 10th with Silvio Manconi in 11th, Eric Flassballer unfortunately won't make it through in 12th spot. The best thing now, we get to do it all again.
Absolutely, we let Group B, preliminary B group, take to Mugello as well for their qualifying and race, and of course another opportunity for these drivers to secure this and completely different set of drivers, mind. And yeah, I'm very impressed with the racecraft on display with US once again. I mean, I'm still trying to get over what happened at Monza. We just saw some really good battling, door to door. I mean, you expect that in these closed cockpit machines. But I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, is it going to be more of the same? I really hope it is, because there was some really good battling.
Yeah, Monza was an absolute belt. We can see something similar here in Prelim B. Prelim B in Laguna Seca was the closer of the two. Obviously the drivers have been shuffled since then, so that means absolutely nilch. But Prelim B was the interesting of the two. Here at a famous circuit, of course, in Mugello, where road races were held on the public roads back in the 1920s. And this circuit, the Mugello Road Circuit, finished in 1970. Of course, traditionally for motorcycles, as you said, Kieran, but it is a track that car drivers absolutely love to hot lap.
Yeah, and it's a bit of a hidden gem for four wheels. You know, this track here in the heart of Tuscany is really the Italian Grand Prix. It is the staple for motorbikes, two wheels around this circuit. But we have had four-wheel ventures here before. Of course, we had a one-off for Formula One. We've had the European Le Mans Series here as well. And I believe the Ferrari Challenge is coming back in 2025 to Mugello. So they're currently alternating. So it will be their year they come to Mugello. But it's a fantastic circuit. It's the fact of the medium speed corners, the slight undulation you have around the circuit. It's a real driver's challenge circuit we saw in that battle. For example, Silvio Manconi. You cannot make a mistake. I mean, you can't make a mistake at most tracks, but this one especially, where if you make that mistake, you lose the momentum. It takes you a good few corners before you can get back to that momentum, because there's no low speed corner where you can scrub off all the speed and start again.
Yes, and the other side of that battle, Jonathan Moyer is pumped up in our Discord server after that one. He is a relieved but also delighted racing driver. And of course, if you want to join, if you're a fan of the series, you absolutely can. And if you want to check out the HyundaiNVirtualCup website, please do so. We would also ask if you could pop a subscription on the YouTube channel here if you are enjoying the action. We'll have Prelim B qualifying coming up very shortly, and then Prelim B race. That, of course, will lead into our main 25-minute race, which will be coming up later on this evening. So, can anyone challenge Michael Menning, I suppose, Kieran, is the real question.
Yeah, it is a real question. I mean, we saw in Monza last time out, the answer was a resounding no. He managed to get into his own there, and a place where slipstream was so key, managed to break that slipstream to everybody else relatively early on, and able to build on his own pace and drive away from the rest of the field. I think we've seen an early preview of what's to come at Mugello. Of course, it's all great when races are written on paper, but when you actually get that out there on circuit, it can be a wildly different thing, as we're joining now our Prelim B drivers for their qualifying session.
Yeah, and that's the number 10 of Zach Doran. You can see rounding through the Arrabbiatas. Zach Doran racing for Visceral Esports. He's also raced in the Ferrari Esports Series America and was second in Laguna Seca in Prelim B last race day. However, in the main race, he was only able to pick up 12th, so 4 points for him, which sort of leaves him on the chopping block here, and it's not as comfortable as maybe he would have liked after seeing such a strong performance in Laguna Seca.
Yeah, absolutely, and he might be slightly concerned coming into this, but all he's got to do, and all he can do, make it into the top 10 and just try and make up the lost ground in Mugello. And that sounds easy on paper, as I've already said, but normally qualifying sessions and races decided out on track, and Zach is going to have to make sure that happens tonight.
Yeah, so first lap going to get underway from Zach Doran. It's the long run down towards San Donato. It's up and it's down and it's past the old famous Mugello pit building. So Zach Doran going to put a lap on display for us here. It's a heavy braking zone for turn number 1. You got to absolutely nail it, because as we saw in the last heat, the run around the outside a lot more difficult than taking that inside line. Then you're in towards turn number 2 of Luco and turn number 3 of Poggio Secco. This is, of course, one of many chicanes in this first sector. It's a little mini straight down towards turn number 4 of Masterassi, and then in towards the Borja San Lorenzo, named, of course, after the famous motorcycle races, and Zach Doran flicking it in through here using all the curb on the outside. This Hyundai Elantra likes taking that curb, and they're fairly flat in Mugello as well, so it's a nice little partnership. Then it's in towards turn number 6 of Casanova, turn number 7 Savelli, then it's in towards the 2 Arrabbiatas, 2 famous corners, 2 loved corners, 2 absolutely beautiful corners, if I do say so myself. That's the first one he's gone through. Then it's in towards the second one. You might cast your eyes back to Formula 1, where Lance Stroll had a big incident in through that corner. Then it's, of course, in towards turn number 10 of Scapiera, named after the region and the nearby town where this circuit is located. Then it's in towards Pelagio of turn number 11. Turn number 12, Hairpin, can be an overtaking opportunity if a driver is brave enough, not necessarily in these TCRs, because they're sort of a wider body than maybe the single-seaters. Then, how brave are you in the Biondetti chicane? Let's listen. Oh, it's close to flat through there, you know, from Zach Doran. He's not far off it, I can tell you that for sure. Hence the final hairpin of Bucine. Multiple lines through this corner. Do you want to take an inside line and drift wide? Do you want to start wide and sweep in? It is really driver preference. Zach Doran's going to hug the inside line, not use all that curbing on the outside, and clip a bit of the pit entrance with him. He's going to keep on the inside of the corner and down towards the stripe on the floor, and Zach Doran will set the pace with 1:56.3. Very nice lap indeed. And you can see Sebastian Baez, 6th place for him. Zach Doran has been beaten by the man he was beaten by in Laguna Seca, Nicholas Iverson in the Sidewinder 48. Then it is Aaron Berkey who's gone to third, and Aaron Berkey, you remember, didn't technically qualify for the main race in Monza last week, got in on a technical, and Aaron Berkey qualifying in third. Drew Swank has improved to fourth. That is Thomas Toomey there in fifth, Paul Verbunen in seventh, ahead of Charlie Ewing in eighth spot. Then it is Rosen, who is, just fallen to 10th, I should say, as Josh Ross has gone up to 7th. Then it is Bustos, who is in 11th, ahead of Brad Lane in 12th position. No proper time on the board from the bottom three, however. 0.081 separating Nicholas Iverson and Zach Doran. They are almost dead even, just like they were this time a few days ago. And Iverson rounding in through to start another lap now. 1:56.2 is the time to beat for Nicholas Iverson. Remember, Iverson is going to want to challenge Michael Menning at some point. Wasn't able to do that in Monza, however. Only 7th in the order is Nicholas Iverson with 9 points. And although 9 points does not sound like an awful lot, it is a comfortable position to advance to the regional final, or the regional semi-finals, I should say. But you always want to kind of get that little bit more, and Nicholas Iverson going to complete the lap here. You can see the RGB lighting on his PC shining down the camera, and Nicholas Iverson won't be able to improve on his last lap. Here's Drew Swank. Is Swank going to be able to improve across the line? Yes, Drew Swank up to third spot. Much better lap from Drew there. Just under half a second of Nicholas Iverson. But Drew means business. Had a very good race in Monza, picking up a point finish. 11th in the order with 5 points. So just like Zach Doran, points are kind of needed. But what you got to do first, as Kieran said, is just get in that top 10. And qualifying is one step to doing that.
Yeah, that's what matters at this stage, isn't it? And making sure you get into that top 10, get that place in the final race absolutely guaranteed. You don't want to take too much out of yourself at this stage. I mean, it's a hectic 15-minute sprint race. That's what we're talking about here. And if the less battling you can do at these early stages, the less you'll take out of yourself going into it. I mean, we saw some great battling for 10th place last time around in the preliminary race A. But yeah, you can use that momentum to bounce off of. But for some of these drivers, they'll just be looking for a relatively quiet, relatively calm preliminary race, get their way into the top 10, and then they can really bring their A game later on. Have to say, Iverson and Doran bringing their A games at this point, they are 4/10 quicker than anyone else on the grid. There's Aaron Berkey, who's currently 4th fastest in this session, just over half a second of the lap time that Nicholas Iverson managed earlier on. Still, that 56.269 is the time to beat.
Another one of our VR headset users is Aaron Berkey, and Aaron Berkey was kind of a surprise package last week. Struggled a lot around Laguna Seca, to call a spade a spade. Then we got to Monza and he was rather on the pace, and once again here at Mugello, definitely in contention for a strong result.
Yeah, and these drivers will of course have their personal preferences for track, how everything works for them. And it just seemed for Aaron at Monza, just seemed to be a really good track for him. I mean, you've got Monza, which is your 70% full throttle around the lap. Here, you're really looking at the next apex. You've got this 1.1 kilometre, well, you'd call it a straight. You're full throttle all the way down towards the first corner of San Donato. There's really, you don't have a lot of time to really have a little bit of reprieve. You've got the long straight. Everything else, you're pretty much preparing the car for the next corner. So for a good proportion of this lap, you're looking ahead at the next apex. You're making sure the car's in the right place. You're making sure that racing line is followed so much, so carefully as well, as we watch on with Zach Doran then making his way through this section now, through this long right-hander. It's just a level of consistency is needed to make sure you get the best out of Mugello, it being such a sweeping circuit.
Yes, and everyone but, of course, Ricardo Rivera, who might have a drink while lapping the circuit in Prelim A. Zach Doran rounding through the hairpin in the number 10, of course, looking to try and beat rival Nicholas Iverson. This is Bustos. You can see down the order in 12th position, looking to improve. Jonathan Bustos, of course, racing for the Velistos team in the number 85. No points on the board, as that is an unbelievable triple monitor setup. I genuinely thought he was actually in an Elantra for a second.
Oh, I love just the preview of these setups as well, seeing what everybody can do and what sort of rig these drivers are most comfortable in. And says Brad Lane then making his way through now, onwards and upwards, currently 5th fastest, just shy of 3/4 of a second away from that provisional pole time. Nicholas Iverson has now crossed the line, hasn't made an improvement in lap time, but I suppose at this stage he doesn't really need to. All eyes will be on Zach Doran to see what he can do, see if he can try and take away that pole position, as Swank then still just over 4/10 of a second behind.
Yeah, Drew Swank not challenging for the pole, but best of the rest, so to speak. Brad Lane will be looking to change that. Currently in 5th spot, you can see circling round in towards the Biondetti chicanes of turn number 13 and turn number 14, looking to just find at least 3/10 of a second and get a second row start to demote either Drew Swank or Aaron Berkey on towards row number 3. Paul Verbunen having some connection problems, we're hearing, but hopefully can get back in for the Prelim B race. Here is Brad Lane up towards the checker. Where is Lane going to go? Up across the line, there's no improvement, and it will remain 5th place. Zach Doran, can pole position be stolen in the dying embers?
Let's see what he can do then through in towards this final corner here. We might get a little bit of a live reaction, and look at that, straight away looking at the timing screen, looking at the delta, seeing what he can do at this stage. As will he make his way across the line? It's a shake of the head, so he's not expecting an improvement
there's
here.
The answer.
So there's the answer, yeah. As pure, as written, as clearly as possible. Zach Doran not able to improve at that time. So it will be Nicholas Iverson who will grab that pole position. But there's not a lot between Zach Doran and Nicholas Iverson. As qualifying goes, we'll see how that translates into the race.
Yes, hopefully a little bit of a battle between the two. It was fairly passive in Laguna Seca between Iverson and Doran, but hopefully the heat is turned up here at Mugello. But it is Nicholas Iverson who will start on pole position for Prelim B, the HyundaiNVirtualCup USA Regional Qualification Race Day 2. Zach Doran will start in 2nd, Drew Swank in 3rd, Aaron Berkey 4th, Brad Lane in 5th, Paul Verbunen will start 6th ahead of Thomas Toomey in 7th, Tyler Rosen in 8th with Sebastian Baez in 9th. Then it will be Ross who starts in 10th ahead of Uing, Bustos, Hun Kim, Wu and Alessandro Vielma in 15th position. So 15 runners in this one, 10 will make it through to the main race, 5 unfortunately won't.
Yeah, it's making sure you get there. If you've scored some points last time out, it's making sure you get back into that top 10, give yourself the best chance possible of scoring the most points that you can to get yourself in there. And this is the crunch time when you're talking about, you know, the Prelim V. We know 10 drivers who are making their way through. We'll decide the next 10, and then it's up to them to make sure they score the best points they can. At this stage, it's all in their hands, and there's no greater pressure than that.
Yes, if you've not got points on the board, this once again is a do or die situation. If you're in a comfortable position, you want to remain in that comfortable position and still qualify. If you're wondering what all the talk about qualifying is, folks, top 10 from this prelim, top 10 from the last prelim will race in a 25-minute main race to score points. And then once we're finished that main race, the top 20 in the point standings will advance to the regional semi-finals that will take place in a couple of weeks. And then the top 5 from that regional semi-final, they'll be heading to the world final in Seoul. But that is looking very far into the future, and looking at this race, Kieran, I suppose we can only reiterate what we've previously spoken about. It is a case of not making mistakes, and now we actually head to the grid. There's 10 seconds to go, and the red lights are coming on now, and here for the second time in Mugello We go racing in Italy, and that's a brilliant start from Nicholas Iverson on the front row. Great start from third place driver Drew Swank as well, and Swank might be tucked into the slipstream of Iverson down towards the first corner. Zach Dorn immediately going to defend from Swank and tuck into that slipstream of Iverson. There's no move down the inside. They're 2 by 2 by 2, a little bit further back though, and there's a little bit of a nudge. Hoon Kim getting a little bit out of shape heading through that corner. The number 99 making a move around the outside. That of course is Brad Lane. So Lane immediately looking to make an impact here. That's Aaron Berkey, who's been running around the outside, and Berkey surviving, taking the place.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. Brilliant way to start this race as well. A little bit of door-to-door behind them as well, as our drivers look to try and get settled into this race as best as they can. Still running too wide there, as we see Toomey then trying to see if he can hold off a little bit of a battle behind him as well, as we head our way through in towards this downhill chicane of of Casanova and Savelli then, as we see then Toomey trying to hold on to that position. Thomas Toomey might fall into a little bit of a train here. He's starting to lose ground from those up ahead of him.
Yes, he is, and you can see a little bit further back. These are the drivers, of course, who are racing for the place. Sebastian Baez in the 22, looking to get racy, as there's just a couple of cars dropping off the order. Disappointingly, Tyler Rosen as well is looking to try and advance in the number 24, so keep an eye on Rosen as well. But Sebastian Baez, only 1 point on the board, finished 15th in Monza last week, so it definitely is a must for Sebastian Baez to be in the top 10 come the end of the 13 minutes and 10 seconds we have left remaining. Is there going to be a move down the inside here potentially? That is the number 25, that's Josh Ross, who's going for the move. No move available, blocked off.
Yeah, on that occasion, and that was just a case of Sebastian Baez as well, looking to see if he can get a little bit of a better exit out of the final corner to try and use that momentum down the start-finish straight. We watch on then Zach Doran then behind Nicholas Iverson, and both of those have managed to try and break away from the rest of the pack. It's Drew Swank in third place, Aaron Berkey in fourth, with Brad Lane in fifth. It's Thomas Toomey in sixth place, with Paul Verbunen in seventh place. I should say Josh Ross and Paul Verbunen, it looks like on the standings, they're battling away for position, and here is that battle with Josh Ross trying to find a way back past Paul Verbunen. Verbunen's got the move done and up to seventh right now.
Yeah, Paul Verbunen just ahead. Is Josh Ross going to try dive down the inside here? No, stays behind. There's a little bit of a bubble over the gate for Paul Verbunen, and that gave Josh Ross the chance to re-overtake, but could not do so. You can see Paul Verbunen above, Josh Ross below. Both running two different types of hardware, one running the Formula wheel, one running a circular wheel, of course. So it's interesting to see the different preferences on display here, but quite similar pace, especially in the case of Ross and Verbunen. Ross looking very racy behind Paul, I have to say. 13th in the point standings is Josh Ross. Looking to try and get past Paul, who sits 10th.
Yeah, absolutely. Will there be a move down the inside here for Josh Ross? No, not on this occasion. But again, two different lines being taken. Josh Ross looking to see if he can run deeper into the corner, get the power down earlier, pick up an earlier apex as we make our way through the Biondetti chicane. Right ahead of them, though, is Thomas Toomey as well. So right now in sixth place, our top 10 seem to be comfortable at this moment in time. Sebastian Baez is on the top 10 bubble, and he's about 2, maybe 3 seconds ahead of Jonathan Bustos at this occasion. There is your 10th place driver in Sebastian Baez as he makes his way around the final corner. Jonathan Bustos is behind him, but so far so good for Sebastian Baez. He's doing enough to qualify.
Yes, there's a gap of about 3.3 seconds between Baez and Bustos, so Sebastian Baez doing a stellar job indeed. It's a two-horse race at the front once again here, Kieran. It's Nicholas Iverson and Zach Doran, just like last week in Prelim B, are running away at the front.
They are indeed, and it's a case of maybe they realise at this point it's just a case of making it. But yeah, we saw them separated by less than a tenth of a second in qualifying, Iverson and Doran. Yeah, at the moment, Iverson is comfortable at this stage. Zach Doran just behind him. We'll have to keep an eye out as well for Drew Swank, who's in third place, and again, in slightly a little bit of a good position as well. He's a couple of car lengths ahead of Aaron Berkey. There is Drew Swank very briefly on your screen, but now rounding this long right-hander here, going through in towards the Arabiatas as we then make our way towards Scarperia and Palagio. But Aaron Berkey looking to see what he can do to try and make up the time against himself and Drew Swank.
Tyler Rosen currently sat in 9th position, looking to chase down Josh Ross. There's shouts for him for president in our YouTube live chat. Make sure to get involved as well, folks, in the conversation, and let us know your thoughts on this HyundaiNVirtualCup race night so far. Number 25 is Josh Ross. That's Paul Verboenen just in front. Tyler Rosen right behind. And as you can see them snaking their way for the Biondetti chicanes, it is very, very close in this mid-pack. If they start battling, that might invite Sebastian Baez and Johnny Ewing back into contention, and it's really needed for Ewing if he wants to try and advance into the top 10, because Baez is just comfortable for now. If he doesn't make a mistake, he should be good.
Yeah, you be careful what you say there. There as we watch on board then with Josh Ross as he looks for a move down the inside here of Paul Verboenen. Later on the brakes he will go then through in towards the first corner, has the inside line. Paul Verboenen here might try a bit of a switchback on the exit of San Donato, but he can't find the way through there, and Josh Ross makes his way then up into 7th place. Watch out as well, we've already mentioned Tyler Rosen right behind, looking to pick up the pieces of this battle, but Paul Verboenen once again looking to apply the pressure to Josh Ross as we make our way through in towards Matarassi and Borgio San Lorenzo.
Yes, it's all still tightening up in the mid-pack. 8 minutes to go here in Prelim B. Josh Ross just ahead of Paul Verboenen, and Paul will definitely want this position back. If we thought they were holding back before, they won't be now, because the initial overtake has been made and the retaliation will soon follow. Gap up the front has just extended over 1 second for the first time. Nicholas Iverson leads by 1.6 seconds over Zach Doran. We saw that in Laguna Seca. Doran make a mistake on one of his laps, and then he was like a lion hungry for his feed, charging down Nicholas Iverson for the remainder of the race. So we'll wait and see if that's what's on the cards for us here in Prelim B. But for now, we're looking at this battle between Ross and Verboenen in 7th.
Yeah, it's our closest battle out on track, isn't it? Battle for 7th place. Paul Verboenen passed by Josh Ross a lap ago, and now looking to try and see if we can find a way back through the final corner here of Bucine. Is going to be that final corner to really take advantage of. If you get a good exit out of here and you get a good tow up towards the start finish line and up towards San Donato at turn 1, you get yourself a really good advantage, a really good chance to carve away down the inside. But Verboenen then, will he be closing at this stage on Josh Ross? Let's have a look, let's see what happens here. Is he close enough for Verboenen to try and move down the inside of Josh Ross? I don't think he is on this occasion. He certainly wants to brake later than Josh Ross on that occasion. No way through there as Rosen runs slightly deep in towards the first corner.
Yeah, Tyler Rosen slowly being caught by Sebastian Baez, but Baez is still a little bit far back, 2.6 seconds. This is the fight between Brad Lane and Aaron Berkey in the battle for 4th. Two drivers excelling around Mugello, both running very steady races. Brad Lane just 0.7 of a second off Aaron Berkey in front. Race leader still Nicholas Iverson. That gap's been extended to 2 seconds. Then it's 3 seconds back to Drew Swank. Then it's this battle for 4th. VR headset, no VR headset. Aaron Berkey versus Brad Lane.
Yeah, battle for 4th place as Brad Lane here we watch on in the number 99, trying to make inroads here to catch Aaron Berkey. We saw Berkey really have to get the elbows out on the first lap. He was at risk of losing a bit of time and position there, but managed to get that 4th place. And at this moment, lock it down right now. With just over 5.5 minutes left of this race to run, we'll wait and see if Brad Lane can find a way through. Thomas Toomey, meanwhile, I did say he was starting to lose those up ahead of him on the very first lap. Seems to have really found his rhythm right now, really found that momentum, really found that consistency. He might be one to watch towards the end of this race, see what he can do to try and find a way past Brad Lane.
He's going to pull all the punches. Is he going to keep a trick up his sleeve for the main race? We'll find out in due course. 5 minutes to go here in Mugello for Prelim B. Remember, of course, top 10 advance to the main race as of now. It's currently Iverson, Doran, Swank, Berkey, Lane, Toomey, Ross, Verbunen, Rosen and Baez. Biggest gainer is, of course, Josh Ross in 7th position, who is up 3 spots. Paul Verbunen down 2. Your biggest loser. So, biggest gainer, biggest loser, apologies, in the movers and shakers, are going to be fighting, hopefully, very soon. Definitely, folks, the main race is going to be the interesting one of the evening, because this is just the build-up. This is just the undercard. The main event yet to come.
Yeah, and the drivers will have one eye on the next race as well once they're inside the top 10, and it's just a case of you don't really want to throw anything away at this stage, as Aaron Berkey taking a slightly wider exit through in towards the corner of Cervelli as we head away through the Arabiatas. But things like that, running wide like that, just invites Brad Lane to just apply a little bit more pressure then as we head away now in towards Scarperia and Palagio. Brad Lane can definitely see those mistakes, and when you're running in front and you do run slightly wide or you kick up at a bit of grass, that's just dangling a carrot in front of the driver behind. It's tempting them to try and move on you at some point, just to apply that pressure a little bit more, because the pressure they were applying before, and you run wide, they're gonna increase that substantially to see if they force another mistake out of you.
Like the steam floating out of a cartoon pie running wide here at Mugello is just beckoning the driver behind to go forwards. And Aaron Berkey doesn't want to make those mistakes and invite Brad Lane to take a piece. And Lane, just 0.4 of a second behind Aaron Berkey in 4th, might have the slipstream down towards San Donato now. There's certainly a lot of composure on both their faces, not much telling, but Brad Lane knows that he's got a great run in the slipstream down towards San Donato. In the purple machine behind, goes for the outside line. Aaron Berkey on the inside. Brad Lane is going to have to brake a lot later, and you can see he does brake a lot later. Aaron Berkey, Brad Lane trying the long way around the outside. Brilliant move. And Berkey is behind.
Oh, brilliant stuff from Brad Lane there, sweeping his way around the outside. At one point I thought he might have overrun the corner, but absolutely proved me wrong. Brad Lane with a brilliant move around the outside here. Aaron Berkey might be a little bit shell-shocked here, because now he's under pressure from Thomas Toomey. Toomey now trying to go down the inside at the next corner then to try and take full advantage as we head away down the hill then towards Casanova and Cervelli. Aaron Berkey loses out on another position then. Thomas Toomey taking full advantage of what might be a little bit of a shocked Aaron Berkey. He's lost 2 positions now in a few corners.
Yeah, and there's a queue behind waiting to take even more if he's not careful. Josh Ross in 7th, 0.8 behind. Paul Verbunen 0.8 behind in 8th. So Aaron Berkey needs to compose himself, needs to get back into that groove, and thankfully he only has 1 more lap after this one to survive. Doesn't want to lose any more than he necessarily has to. Verbunen 0.4 of a second behind Josh Ross, and will be looking to catch, but they're all going to advance as it stands to Zandvoort later this evening, so there's not too much worries on their faces as of now. If your name is Johnny Ewing or Bustos, you might be starting to think, because it's not looking good. 14.5 seconds behind Sebastian Baez, and an advancement is very far-fetched at this point in the race.
Yeah, absolutely. But, after this race, it's a time for reflection. Those who don't make it into the final race and don't find themselves with a chance to get to the regional semi-finals, I mean, you were one of the 40 fastest drivers. No one can take that away from you. You certainly would have beaten me here. Well, I couldn't qualify for the US region, but you understand where I'm coming from. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure every driver would have beaten us, Kieran. That's kind of why we're here talking. But
that's it, yeah.
And of course, neither of us can qualify for the US region, but we won't take that away. This is Tyler Rosen, who you can see heading down towards the turn 4, turn 5 chicanes. A bit of a fan favourite, it's seeing here tonight is T Rose, and number 9 is, or the driver in 9th place, I should say, number 24 actually, is steadily advancing. 14 seconds to go. It's going to be a comfortable win for Nicholas Iverson in Michael Manning fashion.
Yeah.
Apologies.
Yeah, absolutely. And Iverson then set that pole position time and, well, didn't really look back at that point. Aaron Berkey might be looking back, though, at Josh Ross, as, again, Aaron Berkey runs slightly deep there. That allows Josh Ross to apply that pressure once again as we make our way towards the back end of this lap, then in towards Orantayo as he's looking for the move. Then Josh Ross down the inside, gets the inside move, then gets the inside line. He'll get the power down and move himself up into 6th place.
Aaron Berkey loses another position, but no mistakes from here to the end, and it will be advancement. No mistakes from this man, Nicholas Iverson, once again going to win Prelim B for the 2nd race day running, and Iverson is on hot form heading into the main race in Zandvoort. 2nd place will be Zach Doran, 3rd place will be Drew Swank in 3rd, so great race from Drew. Brad Lane then will come home behind after a stellar move on Aaron Berkey just a handful of laps ago. Thomas Toomey will then come home in 4th ahead of Josh Ross in 5th, and it'll be Aaron Berkey, Paul Verbunen, it'll be Tyler Rosen and Sebastian Baez who comes home in 10th. Unfortunately, this means the end of the road for Charlie. It also means the end of the road for Jonathan Bustos.
Yeah, sad to see them go, but I mean, they gave us some phenomenal racing action. The fact they made it here in the first place should take nothing away from how tough it was to get here. Close at times to pre-qualify for this event in the first place. So I look forward to welcoming them back at some point, I'm sure. We won't have seen the last of them, that is for sure.
Yes, they will be back. Great drivers across the field. It's so unfortunate that we have to cut, and we do have a chopping block, but great drivers across the field. We will get confirmation of your full results coming up now, folks, but there was no doubt Nicholas Iverson, your race winner. Zach Doran then, of course, in 2nd, and Drew Swank rounding off the podium for the prelim. But the main race is where the points are scored, and that's going to be the one Nicholas Iverson, Zach Doran and Drew Swank will be looking to win. From Thomas Toomey as well, Kieran, who of course didn't score points. He got 5th.
Yeah, very good indeed. And you know, it took my slack at the start of it, of course, when I said, oh, look, he's lost a couple of positions, he's losing ground on those ahead of him, but he managed to really get into his rhythm there at that stage of the race. You know, got those first couple of laps under his belt. Once he'd done that, he managed to really find the pace, find that consistent pace. That was the most important part, and even made a move towards the end of the race as well. So he looks in pretty good shape, pretty good momentum going into the later races tonight.
Move of the day so far, would we say it was that Brad Lane 10th round the outside?
I think so. It has to be. It has to be. If anyone can better that at Zandvoort, we'll all be watching.
Probably one of few moves of the day, to be fair, but a great move nonetheless from Brad Lane.
Without a doubt, you know, just swoop it round the outside there as well, to size that up, swoop round the outside, keep it all together as well. When I thought it looked like he might be at the limit of adhesion, didn't phase him, managed to make it stick.
Yeah, then just to read out the full results for you folks, it was, of course, Nicholas Iverson ahead of Zach Doran in 2nd, Drew Swank in 3rd with Brad Lane in 4th, then Thomas Toomey, Josh Ross, Aaron Berkey, Paul Verbunen, Tyler Rosen and Sebastian Baez, your top 10 advancing. Of course, we keep talking about this main race that's coming up. They've got drivers. Got to get a bit of practice for it first. You can see the race results now on your screen as well, folks. Charlie Ewing, of course, in 11th, and Jonathan Bustos running out in 12th. We did have a few non-finishers, but this main race that we keep going on about, we've got to give the drivers a few minutes to practice for it. We're going to have 25 minutes of absolute brilliant racing coming up. Of course, a 10-minute qualifying session before as well. We are going to take a brief break, though, to let those drivers practice, get into the groove around Zandvoort, so we can have a spectacle. Stick with us, folks. We will be back very shortly here on USA Regional Qualification Day 2 of the HyundaiN Virtual Cup.
Can you show me what it's like to feel free? With me.
It is time for the main event of the evening. It is a small seaside town with 17,000 people, but tonight it hosts one of the most important races in the US region of the HyundaiN Virtual Cup. It is circuit in the Netherlands, and this is the main race of day 2. Once again, it's Evan Dalton and Kieran McGinley here bringing you the action. And Kieran, I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, me too. It all comes down to this then. We'll find out who our 20 drivers will be that make their way to the regional semi-finals. The pressure and the stakes could not be higher, especially if you're looking around that top 20 bubble. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, it is going to be a thoroughly entertaining one, and we will be heading over to qualifying very shortly, but before we get there, we got to run you through a little bit of housekeeping. So, of course, the HyundaiN Virtual Cup on Assetto Corsa Racing, the Hyundai Elantra, which Kieran will be running you through in depth later. These drivers are racing it for over $100,000, and we'll give you the full breakdown of that soon. We started with pre-qualification on October 21st. We're now qualification stage, and we'll be heading to the regional semi-finals based upon tonight's results. Then it's the World Final. It will take place on January 11th, live from Seoul, South Korea. Europe's regional qualification stage is completed. The regional semi-finals will be soon. They are on November 20th and November 23rd. Here at USA, we complete our action tonight on November 24th. Korea will then start next on November 27th and November 30th, and then it's China's turn on November 28th and December 1st. Of course, we started tonight with 2 prelim races of 10 minutes qualifying and 15-minute race. We now move on to the main race format. It is once again a 10-minute qualifying session. However, it is a longer 25-minute race for these drivers to tackle here this evening. And of course, the points on offer for this: 25 if you take the win, 20 for second, 16 for third, 13 for fourth, and 11 for fifth, 10 for sixth, 9 for 7, 8 for 8, 7 for 9. Then it's 5 for 11, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All the way down to 15th. Lower than 15th, it is a no score, I'm afraid. However, we have bonus points on offer: 2 for the fastest lap, 3 if you manage to pick up pole position. And of course, the split of our prize pool, $1,220 to be exact. That's split down into $7,705 for the regional semi-finals. Drivers' Championship, $62,000, and the Region Championship, $11,000. But remember, the top 20 finalists across our 4 regions will win an all-inclusive trip to that World Final. And of course, the standings at play coming into tonight: Michael Menning is on top with 30 points ahead of Ricardo Rivera. Kurt Van Reid is in third on 16, with Quapono Patrick in fourth on 13. Then Jordan Johnson at 11, Lims Nuken on 10, Nicholas Iverson on 9, and Braden Werner on 8. And it's Jesse Hoffard on 7, Paul Verbunen on 6, and Drew Swank with 5. Zach Doran then has 4, Josh Ross in 13 would be Brad Lane has 2, and Sebastian Baez in 15th spot with 1 point. All of the drivers are on 0 and racing for points here tonight. But where are they racing? I'm going to hand it over to Kieran to take you through this fabulous facility.
Well, it's about 35 kilometres west of Amsterdam. The Circuit Zandvoort here first started racing in 1948, but the circuit configuration then looked a lot more wider and more upstanding than this. 4.3 kilometres in its current form, with 15 turns in the heart of the Netherlands. And with the sand dunes around the circuit here, it does promote wind to be a really big factor at this circuit. For our drivers today, they don't have to worry about this here, but at this FIA Grade 1 circuit, which hosts the Formula 1 Dutch Grand Prix, it hosts around in the DTM and the GT Masters, it's fair to say its recent revival around this circuit has been well and truly received, especially with the rise of prominence worldwide of Max Verstappen. The Dutch Grand Prix is here to stay. And of course, it's been a really great staple. It's a narrow track, mind, so overtaking could be tricky. Qualifying is going to be super important for this session for our drivers. And the cars that our drivers will be tackling the Circuit Zandvoort in: the Elantra N TC, 350 brake horsepower, 0 to 100 in 4.5 seconds. It's a 2-litre turbo engine, 6-speed sequential gearbox, all front-wheel drive. As we've seen, drivers already have the back end out. You've got to really slam the throttle down to regain the rear end if it does step out. This Elantra N TC then, it made its debut in 2021, winning its class at the Nürburgring in 24 hours. Since then, it's been a 3-time winner at the Nürburgring. It's got a driver and team championship in 2022 for the WTCR, and it's had a drivers championship in the TCR World Tour in 2023. This balance between performance and precision will make it an ideal candidate around Circuit Zandvoort, where it's narrow sections of circuit, especially through these long sections at the Rob Slottermacher bocht and in towards the likes of the Masters bocht. Very narrow sections of track, very well suited to the Elantra.
Yes, and a couple of the drivers were complimenting how nicely it takes the curbs around here. It is, of course, very stable and a very well-suited car, as Kieran said. Let's head into qualifying then for the main race here at USA Day 2. Michael Menning on top, as expected. Kurt Van Otenried, however, is in second. Braden Werner third. Tyler Lims-Nuken fourth. Quapono Patrick fifth. Then it is Shane Ross, Otto Rivera, Zach Doran, then Thomas Toomey, and Nicholas Iverson rounds out the top 10. So, a familiar face at the top, Kieran, but the rest of that grid fairly shuffled from what we expected.
Yeah, absolutely. And coming into tonight as well, obviously we're keeping one eye on the points standings as well. We'll try and keep you as up to date as we can, but of course, don't take our word for it. All we say is going to be provisional, subject to steward's inquiry. But there is Kurt Van Otenried, who is currently second fastest. He comes into tonight third in the standings with 16 points to his name. The 26-year-old from the team Sidewinder, looking to make sure he can book his spot into the regional semi-finals. And that's what our drivers are here to do. They're here to make it to the semi-finals. You've got to finish in the top 20 in the points standings. And so for someone up in the field, like our man who finished in 16th place, Jonathan Moyer, who currently doesn't have any points to his name, but that 16th place might prove to be very, very important in a tiebreaker scenario. He's in today's race. He's currently 20th fastest. We'll see what he can do from this position. But yes, we've got a couple of drivers that don't have points, the likes of Shane Ross, Tyler Rosen, Jonathan Moyer, Aaron Berkey, Thomas Toomey, all here with no points to their name so far. So for them, it's all about getting as many points as they can. Top 15 scores those all-important points.
Yes, points equal prizes, and that is very prevalent here in the HyundaiNVirtualCup. 47 seconds to go in qualifying. No one touching Michael Menning's lap, however, it's close across the rest of the field. Zach Doran just exiting turn number 3 of Hugenholtz box. For S's section, flat out through here. Much machinery, however, you've got to get ready for the Skyflak heading through turn number 7, the downhill right-hander. Not the official Dutch pronunciation of it, I believe, but it's about as close as we get with our Irish and English accent. Zach Doran heading through turn number 8, then in towards box 9, turn number 9 in the number 10. It was a good performance from him earlier in Mugello. However, he's got to try carry that into this race, Kieran, because he didn't necessarily do that last week.
Yeah, absolutely. So he's only got 4 points to his name after that race in Monza. So yeah, he really has to be making sure he picks up what he can. Checker flag is out for this qualifying session then, as Tyler Rosen finishes 14th place so far, as Kurt Van Otenried currently has a little bit of a traffic up ahead of him, but might be able to use that as an advantage through the likes of the Rub Slottermacher and in towards Shivlak, towards Masters Bock. And yes, as Evan said, my Dutch is about as good as my Portuguese, absolutely abysmal, so we do apologise in advance for any Dutch mispronunciations around the circuit, but nevertheless, this narrow circuit should give us a really good opportunity to see what these drivers can do. Zach Doran now goes 4th fastest.
Yes, I can say Ari Lundijk boxed, which is this corner here, because he was an IndyCar driver, so that's the only reason I have that one down. But this is Jesse Hoffart heading through that corner and across the pinstripe on the floor, and it will be 13 for Jesse Hoffart. Aaron Berkey currently in 15th, and we saw his confidence get shot a little bit come the end of prelim B, losing a lot of places in quick succession, but Berkey is going to try and soar, at least jump Jesse Hoffart and Tyler Rosen. Just cuts the inside, heading through turn number 13. The banking, although doesn't look steep on Assetto Corsa, in real life it is a whopping banking of 18 degrees, which is larger than the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Qualifying is coming to a conclusion here. Michael Menning still on top. Kurt Van Otenried is in second, and it's looking like Braden Werner is going to finish in 3rd. Zach Doran 4th, and then it is going to be Jordan Johnson in 5th.
Yeah, qualifying done and dusted, and it looks like Michael Menning gets himself another 3 points on the board. He's looking for that clean sweep here. We'll see what he can do if he can achieve it. He'll need a 1st place now in the race and a fastest lap within this race to complete the clean sweep. So we'll see what he can do.
Yes, pole, fastest lap, race win last week for Michael Menning. Is it going to be the same here this week? Well, I'm not a betting man, but it seems like a safe one, but anything can happen in motorsport, and 99% of the time at least it usually does. Some good qualifying performances from around the field, but this is now a pressure scenario, Kieran. Michael Menning on pole, however, Kurt Van Otenried in second, then it is Werner, Johnson, Doran, Nuken, Iverson, Patrick, Ross, Rivera. Then it is the other Ross out of two, Hoffert, Rosen, Berkey, Swank, Rabunen, Baez and Lane. And I'm just looking at one name that's sticking out to me there, Kieran. Drew Swank, poor qualifying compared to the performance we saw earlier.
Yeah, and he's going to have to make sure he recovers that as best as he possibly can at this point. Yeah, you really don't want to be falling short at this point of the stage, at this point of the event. 5 points to his name so far, so that's got his, that's him covered at least for then. But he's really got to fight his way through the order to make sure he can get as many points as possible and secure his place in the top 20.
Yes, you've got to pick up a few points if you are in a similar position to Drew Swank, because 5 is not necessarily comfortable. It is a good base, but you certainly would be very much sweating for the entire 25 minutes if you only had 5 points to name and maybe you didn't make this race. But Drew is here and he is going to try and play. As I was going to ask you there earlier, Kieran, this is a real pressure scenario for some.
It is, that pressure cooker scenario, and the thing is the pressure will only ramp up from here if you make it to the semi-finals, so it's a good starting point for our drivers. You've got to face adversity when it hits you, and if you've not had a great qualifying, or if the first race at Monza didn't go to plan, this is your time for retribution. This is your time to secure your place in the top 20. That's all we're looking for right now, is the top 20 point scores across the two races. It sounds so simple, it sounds so easy, it sounds so nonchalant, but when you're right behind the wheel with that adrenaline coursing through your veins, everything can get thrown out of the window. What you've got to do is ground yourself and remember, only the top 20 matters. If you're just on the outskirts here, if you're maybe in that 15th place with the 1 point, such as Sebastian Baez, you've just got to make sure you score points to try and get yourself into that top 20. That's all we're looking for at this stage.
And now, as we head to the grid, 25 seconds until the lights will show. The drivers getting their final preparations in. One last drink potentially, one last check of the wheel to make sure all is working. The time is now. It is the main race on USA Region Race Day 2 here in the HyundaiN Virtual Cup, and the 5 red lights are on here in Circuit Zandvoort, and we are racing in the Netherlands. Great start for Michael Menning and Kurt Van Otenried off the front row. Van Otenried, however, has to defend from the third place car heading in towards turn number 1. It is Michael Menning who still leads. Van Otenried has the inside line. They're almost two abreast the full way back to the back of the pack, but Menning, comfortable lead. Great start once again. He is the one to beat, as there's a little bit of a nudge, there's a little bit of contact. That's the number 59 of Quapono Patrick, who's receiving a bit of a door bang.
Yeah, I think that was Shane Ross as well in the background, and the number 8 who found himself facing the wrong way, or at least 90-degree angle, as he now makes his way away. Yes, it is Shane Ross in the number 8. Didn't quite see how he ended up there, but he ended up going backwards into the wall. Still a little bit of a race to go then, but we see then the 59 of Quapono Patrick trying to make his way up the order. There's the 51, there's Kurt Van Otenried, who's hold on to that second place right now as we make our way through in towards turn 9.
Good start from Van Otenried. He's got 16 points to his name, of course, a fairly comfortable standing, but probably wants to challenge Michael Menning, at least to give himself something to work with coming into the next few weeks. But he is under pressure from the car behind is Kurt Van Otenried, and he's going to have to get all his defensive efforts out here. That is Braden Werner, who is challenging for WSR Esports. 8 points to his name, is 8th in the standings is Braden Werner, but is looking to challenge for more here tonight, and you can see in his ring where here his wing mirror, I should say. Jordan Johnson all over it in the number 12 Apex Racing Academy, the driver from Ohio, and the Racing Prodigy Practice Squad racer. He's looking to try and make an impact defensive manoeuvre from Braden Werner. Jordan Johnson has to pivot to the outside line, heading for a Tarzan box. That's not going to work in the month of Sundays, unfortunately.
Werner holding on to that one. Jordan Johnson, though, just reminding Werner that he's there, and maybe a look maybe down towards Hugenhold's box, but defends the inside line, does Werner here, as he'll get the power down. Jordan Johnson following close behind. Zach Doran in 5th place as he looks to try and secure that good points haul he needs to secure that top 20 position. Iverson then, who was on the front row, in fact qualified on pole position heading in towards Mugello. Now he's here at Zandvoort, currently 7th in the running right now, but looking to just see what he can do in these early stages. There are your movers and shakers. Unfortunately for Shane Ross, he's dropped 10 positions with that incident that he did have. A lot of people up 2 positions, and a lot of them helped by Shane Ross's early demise at this race.
Very disappointing for Shane Ross in the number 8, but he's looking to work his way back up, still with the pack, crucially. Still with the pack, and there's 21 minutes to go, so plenty of time to try and carve his way through that. But that is crucial for Shane Ross. Nicholas Iverson then in 7th position, trying to chase down Tyler Lims-Nuken, just in front of him in 6th. Nicholas Iverson, of course, in the sidewinder, 48th car and is 7th in the points classification. As it stands, he actually finished 1 position behind Tyler Lims-Nuken last week, so these two are in the same running order as of now. Michael Menning, 2.5 second lead, ahead of Kurt Van Autenried. Then it is Braden Werner in 3rd, ahead of Jordan Johnson. Zach Doran there in 5th, so Zach has picked up the pace, and Tyler Lims-Nuken and Nicholas Iverson. It's all very cagey at the front of the order. In terms of the point scorers, Paul Verbunen the cut off for now. Tyler Rosen 0.2 of a second behind.
Yeah, there's Rivera then, Ricardo Rivera in the number 53, now heading our way through in towards Hugenhold's box. Right behind him then is Guapodo Patrick in that number 59, who will follow him now all the way through in towards Rob Slatamarka Bock and through the rest of the corners here through Shivlak, and Patrick here just sizing up an opportunity, not really an overtaking opportunity through our 7th corner at Shivlak. Masters Bock as well is quite a corner here where you can't really have a move unless you're side by side, and if you are side by side at that point, it probably means someone's got Shivlak all sorts of wrong in towards turn 9. Here's a heavy braking zone. That is an overtaking opportunity in towards turn 9. You can really find yourself side by side on the run towards turn 10. Again, some medium speed corners here, and then we head our way down the back stretch towards Hans Ernst Bock in towards 11 and 12. A heavy braking zone is a good opportunity to make an overtaking move stick, as there is Shane Ross then in the number 8 trying to battle his way back up through the order. He's got a lane up ahead of him as he looks to try and find a way through. He's got the inside line here. Down the inside he will go at Hans Ernst Bock, and through he goes then up into 18th place. The recovery drive is well and truly on for Shane Ross. How high can he go?
Yeah, good move that. Dispatched the Dark Lounge Racing driver of Brad Lane very easily, I must say. Here we go then to start the 3rd lap of proceedings around Zandvoort. Still Michael Menning in the race lead. Kurt Van Autenried in 2nd, and Braden Werner there in 3rd. This is Tyler Lims-Nuken, who you can see in your picture 0.4 of a second behind Zach Doran in front. Tyler Lims-Nuken, of course, a 2022 FIA Motorsport Games representative for Team USA, and he took part in the 2023 PEC USA final as well. So a lot of experience for Tyler Lims-Nuken, and I suppose out on track here, and that has shown from time to time. There's been some mature moves that we've seen in Monza and as well this evening.
There has, yes, and US gave us some really good battles up and down the order at Monza, and we really do look to see what they can do in this race. But Ricardo Rivera then right on the back of Iverson then, as he's looking for a move here. Is he perhaps in towards turn 9, but no way through just then, as he looks to put the pressure on Iverson. Guapono Patrick looking around the outside as well.
Yes, Quapono Patrick looking to try make a move, as you can see in the picture some of the clips of the Hyundai Rally team. Remember, of course, Thierry Neuville picking up the World Rally Championship title this weekend. So great weekend for Hyundai, great weekend for the Hyundai Rally team, and for the HyundaiNVirtualCup, of course. Ricardo Rivera looking to try and overtake Nicholas Iverson. As you can see, Rivera rounding through, and Quapono Patrick actually right on the tail of Ricardo Rivera as well. Quapono Patrick racing, of course, for the Sim Racing Alliance team, and his biggest claim to fame is beating Formula 1 driver Lando Norris. Well, can he beat Ricardo Rivera in towards turn number 1? Oh, Rivera, big mistake, runs very wide. There's a nudge from Quapono Patrick, and luckily neither rotates round. Quapono Patrick gonna try and dive in towards turn number 2. No, not brave enough there. That was quite sketchy for a moment, but both survives.
Yeah, and you could see that Quapono Patrick saw the gap open up, thought he'd go down the inside there, and then Rivera tried to shut the door, and both of them making contact there. But as you say, both of them facing the right way. There is expected door-to-door contact. We saw that at Monza, but no harm, no foul between the two of them. They'll both just get on with this and look to see what they can do. But Rivera ahead of Patrick for 8th and 9th.
Let's be right on board with Quapono Patrick. You can see him there in your picture as well as Ricardo Rivera above. And Quapono driving very smooth, I have to say, not getting too adventurous with the racing line. He's not exactly pressuring Ricardo Rivera into a move. Of course, was 4th in Monza. Quapono, Ricardo was 2nd, so both of these guys rather relaxed, so to speak. They're not going to be too stressed at this point in the race. There's still 16 minutes to go, and they are both in a decent point scoring place. So 8th and 9th for Ricardo Rivera and Quapono Patrick. But up the front still Michael Menning, who leads. Close battle for 2nd between Kurt van Otenried and Braden Werner. Seems like, Kieran, it is going to be a little bit of deja vu from last week, where there's a big squabble for 2nd. 1st, however, up the road.
It is deja vu from last week, where we get that fantastic squabble for 2nd and or 3rd place. I'm well up for it. It was brilliant to watch on there. And Braden Werner in 3rd place, looking to see if he can try and close down on Kurt van Otenried up ahead as we head away through turn 2 of Gerlachbocht and now in towards turn 3 of Hugenholzbocht. Then down in towards that 3rd corner, sweeping our way through, then back on the power we go then. And yeah, it's sort of 2nd and 3rd have slightly broken away from Jordan Johnson, but he's still there in the background, ready and waiting to pick up any pieces.
There's a lot of that here with Zandvoort. There's drivers waiting to potentially pick up potential pieces from mistakes. It is a unique track, Zandvoort, so mistakes can sometimes come in large quantities, but we've had a lot of great performances here tonight, so there is not many mistakes. A lot of practice hours going into this one from these drivers. Drew Swank, who we picked up in qualifying, has worked his way back into the point scoring places in the 88, and he is in 14th spot. Drew is looking to just confirm himself a place in the regional semi-finals. Racing for his own team, of course, the swankracing.com number 88 car. Drew doing a decent job indeed to work his way back up. His next target is Aaron Berkey in 13. Shane Ross is at a little bit of a stalemate down in 17th spot. Hasn't been able to cut through any more from when we last checked up with him. Jonathan Moyer is down in 19th. Brad Lane in 18th there. And those two have had their fair share of issues, and they are a little bit of a stretch off the field. So disappointing for Lane, disappointing for Moyer. But we will see how it works out in the points classification.
Yes, we will indeed, and looking ahead at it, Iverson then looking to try and see what he can do for this position to try and find a way past Tyler Limsnook, and then down in towards the 1st corner we go. Slightly too far back, but Tyler Limsnook has just got to be careful that he doesn't lose too much ground against Zach Doran here, as Iverson looking to try and find a way through here as we head away onwards towards turn 3 here. And I thought the door might have been open for Nicholas Iverson, no way through for him. Watch out as well for Ricardo Rivera, who's chomping at the bit to see what he can do to gain a couple of places if the opportunity arises.
Yeah, like a shark in the water is Ricardo Rivera, just waiting for Nicholas Iverson to go for the move on Tyler Limsnooken, but not really close enough for the time being. Here's Thomas Toomey looking for it on Jesse Hoffart, but again not close enough towards turn number 7. Runs a very wide line, does Thomas Toomey. He will have to stay behind Hoffert for now. Thomas Toomey, a man racing for points in Monza. Jesse Hoffart picked up a nice classification, but Thomas Toomey, I have to say, performing when the lights are shining brightest, Kieran.
Absolutely, looking to just make sure he can, well, do this the right way. You know,
it's actually sorry, both these guys are. Jesse Hoffart didn't get any points in Monza. He is also racing for advancement.
Is, and so that makes this battle even more worth watching as well, to see who can come out on top in that scenario, as Menning just breaking away at the rest of the order, looking to try and get that clean sweep. But watching on here, this battle for 12th place between Thomas Toomey and Aaron Burke as they make their way on towards the start finish straight with just under 12.5 minutes left to run. And some pointers for one of our drivers. Sebastian Baez has dropped out due to wheel issues. He was struggling with a wheel issue in the practice session, and he has had to bow out of the race here. So he's just got to hope and pray that 1 point is enough to advance him to the regional semi-finals. But it's not looking hopeful if your name is Sebastian Baez, and utterly disappointing to see something like that hamper a driver's progress, because it's usually never their fault, and poor Sebastian Baez is the unlucky one here on this day. But we will see how it works out. Of course, myself and Kieran's call will be provisional, but it's a good estimate if I do say so myself. This is Kurt Van Otenreid, Braden Werner and Jordan Johnson, all looking to pick up second place. They're starting to bunch up a little bit, and especially Jordan Johnson. He's looking to tee up a nice move here. Yeah, looking to see what he can do from this position. Just watching on at the moment as Braden Werner and Kurt Van Otenreid look to try and battle away together in towards turns 11 and 12. We will go through Hansen's spot we go, and then they'll size up turn 13 very shortly. But the trio here battling away for second place in this race. They're heading their way through in towards that penultimate corner, followed on by Ari Luyendijk-Bocht. And through they go now through that 14th and final corner, taking them on towards the start-finish straight. Watch out though for Jordan Johnson. Looks like he's got a good run out of that final corner. Braden Werner, can he look to try and defend this position then? Jordan Johnson, yeah, you saw Braden Werner thinking about defending, just taking a slightly more defensive line then, just basically suggesting to Jordan Johnson, don't try and move up the inside, I will defend that line. And that seemed to get the message across that Jordan Johnson stays back on this occasion.
And when we're looking at this squabble, you can see just up the road a tiny little pebble that's come off Zandvoort's beach. No, that's Michael Menning, who is 7.2 seconds in front here in this race. But this squabble for second is going to be an entertaining one between Kurt Van Otenreid, Braden Werner and Jordan Johnson. And you can see Van Otenreid just leading Werner and almost being pushed by Werner through the corners, and Braden is really on the limit in pushing Kurt here in towards this middle sector. And is he going to go for a bit of an audacious lunge down the inside here? Yes, he is. No, just stays behind. Certainly looked for it, was searching for it, couldn't quite find it, had to back out. And now Jordan Johnson has to try and drive a different line to both the cars in front. Has to do something totally obscure, something totally out of the box to try and make the move, but no joy with that so far.
Not so far, but he's still there, looking for those positions, looking to see what he can do. Oh, a little bit of loss of control there from Braden Werner. He was just on the getting the throttle down there, so it didn't cost him too much time. But it's clear to see that any mistakes will be heavily capitalised on by drivers behind. As I said before, it's a narrow circuit, so overtaking opportunities are limited around this circuit. But if you make a mistake like that, that just opens yourself up being attacked here. Ricardo Rivera on Nicholas Iverson as they make their way across the start-finish line. 9 minutes to go. Here goes Kurt Van Otenreid. He finds a gap then, sends it down the inside. Door-to-door contact between himself and Van Otenreid. Sorry, that's Werner who goes up the inside then. Van Otenreid runs slightly wide on the exit of turn 1. So Braden Werner up into second place. Jordan Johnson follows him through, and Kurt Van Otenreid down to 4th place.
Jordan Johnson just following Braden Werner through, but a nice little overtake from Braden. Door to door, but that's what you expect in a TCR, and Brian Werner is up into second. Jordan Johnson third. Kurt Van Ottenreid in fourth. Zach Doran in fifth. Zach 2.4 behind this battle. This is Nicholas Iverson, who is looking for a move on Ricardo Rivera. These two have been squabbling for quite some time now. 9 or 8 minutes to go, I should say, here in the main race at Zandvoort in the USA region. Day 2, and Nicholas Iverson looking for the move on Ricardo Rivera in towards the middle sector. We've not quite seen a decent overtaking opportunity in towards this corner for quite some time. We have been towards turn number 11, the Hans Ernst Bock, named after, of course, the old famous motorcycle racer Hans Ernst. Problems! Nicholas Iverson goes off in towards the chicane. He's able to recover in the 48, but that's a rare error for Iverson.
Yeah, that's a big error then from Iverson in the race that really does matter here, but he's now down to 10th place, so that might shuffle his point scoring escapades a little bit. But yeah, he's fallen down now a few positions. Now he's just got to put that behind him. The mistake has happened, the running wide has happened now. He's just got to put that behind him, focus fully on the next 7 minutes.
I still love how he fixed his camera for our broadcast during that. That's a thumbs up from the broadcast team and from myself and Kieran Nicholas. But still in 10th, still no real worries of non-qualification to the regional semi-finals.
As it stands, of course. As it stands,
great point.
But there is Swank then trying to find a way through. Drew Swank on Aaron Berkey. Now these are positions that really do matter. Berkey and Swank have 0 points coming into tonight's racing to try and qualify for the semi-final. There's a handful of points on offer here for our drivers. So this is a case for Drew Swank wanted to try and find a way past Aaron Berkey. On the other side though, Aaron Berkey looking to defend that position from Drew Swank.
Yes, this is really the crucial fight in this race, because these are all on the chopping block, and Drew Swank is going to try dive one down the inside of Aaron Berkey. Outside line now for turn number 10. And he's going to have to swing it around the outside, potentially try the up and under. Aaron Berkey parks it on the apex absolutely beautifully, and Paul Verbunen might have a go now. Drew Swank tucked into the slipstream of Berkey, not quite close enough for turn number 11 and turn number 12. And as we head to the aerial, it's a mistake for Aaron Berkey, and Aaron Berkey's taking a quick trip across the beach. Drew Swank, Verbunen, Rosen, Ross True, and that might be the crucial moment for Aaron Berkey in the HyundaiN Virtual Cup.
But there's Jordan Johnson up the inside now of Braden Werner. Through in towards the first corner we go. Gets the power back down, does the number 12, but they're still going to run side by side here as we head our way through turn 2. Now onwards towards turn 3. Braden Werner tried to find that inside line, and Jordan Johnson wasn't going to let him have it. Werner then tries to go around the outside, but again, no way through that time around. Jordan Johnson moves himself now up into second place.
Yes, Jordan Johnson, cutthroat manoeuvres, and a brilliant race from him so far. But Braden Werner is going to fight back in towards the right-hander. It's the number 12 leading the two, but Braden Werner is looking to change that fairly quickly. Look at him just following every move. He's like a shadow to Jordan Johnson, and now the shadow is going to have a mind of its own. Tries it down the inside. No avenue of attack for Braden Werner. He's going to have to stay behind and try it again. 4 minutes 28 seconds to go in this. Still plenty of time for Braden Werner, and Jordan Johnson's made a mistake. He's cutting a little bit of grass, and this is an invite to Braden Werner for the overtaking. He's going to try it around the outside. Last of the late breakers for Braden Werner. Oh my goodness me, is this brave? He's given the inside line. He's given the space by Jordan Johnson. There's a nudge between the two. Johnson's car bobbles over to the right-hand side of the circuit, but crucially stays on it. Braden Werner crucially stays behind.
Yeah, Braden Werner just lost that back end slightly out of the exit of turn 12 at Hans box, so that might have cost him a little bit of momentum. What's not going to cost him momentum here is the tow he gets from Jordan Johnson. Then Braden Werner once again having to go the long way round then in towards the first corner here at Tarzenbocht, as Jordan Johnson has that inside line. Braden Werner looking to make it round the outside, getting the power down. Is there room on the exit? Yes, there is. They do run side by side now through turns 2 and 3. Jordan Johnson has the racing line. Werner again looking to see if he can try and find a way through. But look who's joined back onto this battle. It's Kurt von Altenried.
Yes, the trio has even if it was just a brief break-up. It's Jordan Johnson, Braden Werner, Kurt van Altenried, who are all so close together here on this Zandvoort circuit, and Jordan Johnson is looking to defend from the number 29 right behind. This has been another brilliant scrap for second place around a circuit where overtakes usually aren't possible. What's Braden Werner have? What does Braden Werner have?
What does he have left in the locker? That's absolutely right. I mean, it's not as if he hasn't thrown everything at this to try and get that second place. That is for sure. As there's Tyler Limsnooken then has that late pressure now from Ricardo Rivera. Quapono Patrick and Josh Ross are also battling away. So there's battles everywhere around the circuit. There's only one camera we can focus on, and we're focusing on this battle for second place. Once again, Braden Werner will try and see if he can find a way past Jordan Johnson. Maybe a wry shake of the head there from Braden Werner. Just assessing what Jordan Johnson is doing. In these stages as well, you're trying to assess what your opponent is doing up ahead. What are they doing different to you, perhaps? And where those weaknesses might lie. Where can you find the move sticking there? Michael Menning then starting what probably will be the penultimate lap of this race.
Yes, and what a quick race it has been. Jordan Johnson slightly wide of the apex, losing a little bit of time through the rotation of Tarzenbocht, turn number 1. But no avenue for Braden Werner to fall into. It's a cul-de-sac in front. There's no way out past it. And Braden Werner just has to be patient and go for his good overtaking opportunities. This is the sector coming up where Jordan Johnson struggles. It seems to be turn number 8, turn number 9, where Braden Werner is able to reel catch, and turn number 7 as well, evidently, because as we ride on board, you can see the pace difference. Braden Werner a lot more confident in through this section of the circuit. Jordan Johnson, as you can see, making his Elantra 3 times the size that it is. Really good defensive showing.
It is at the moment. Jordan Johnson doing everything he can to stay ahead at this stage with only seconds on the clock. Braden Werner is running out of time if he wants that second place. I mean, I think at the back of the mind he knows he's got this perhaps top 20 sealed down in the sort of maths as you do as a driver, but as a driver at this stage you don't want to settle for third if second is so tantalisingly close.
Yeah, you want that little bit more when it is right in front of you, as Kieran put it well, it's like a carrot on a stick dangling. You just want to grab it, and Braden Werner just wants to grab second place. Michael Menning starts the final lap of the regional qualifiers, day 2 here for the USA region around Zandvoort. Jordan Johnson looking to just survive for now in the battle for second. Braden Werner in third. That's Kurt van Altenried, Zach Doran, Tyler Limsnooken, Ricardo Rivera. Then it is Josh Ross ahead of Quapono Patrick, Nicholas Iverson ahead of Jesse Hoffert, Thomas Toomey. Then it is Drew Swank ahead of Paul Verbunen, Shane Ross. Then it is Tyler Rosen, Aaron Berkey, Brand Lane, and Jonathan Moyer. Down to 19. Remember Sebastian Baez, your non-finisher here due to wheel issues, but of course still might qualify. We'll have a provisional result at least after the race concludes. But Jordan Johnson looking like he's going to be good here, looking like he's going to be okay, unless it's the last of the late breakers move from Braden Werner.
We'll have to wait and see though, as Tyler Limsnooken trying to defend that 6th place, Jordan Johnson trying to defend that 2nd place, Josh Ross in a bit of a 3-car battle, might be just in 8th place there, as fair enough to Ross there in 15th place, who's managed to get his way back up to 15th place. 1 point on the board for now. That's a fantastic recovery drive there, as Tyler Limsnooken has to be careful in the rear view mirrors of Ricardo Rivera. But as we head towards the closing stages, there's one man who's looking for the clean sweep.
Yes, it's going to be the clean sweep, and Michael Menning rounds through the final corner here at Circuit Zandvoort to remain undefeated. No one has beaten him here in this US region so far, and Michael Menning comes across the line in star-studded fashion. Brilliant performance, and he will move on to the regional semi-finals. Jordan Johnson will remain in second, Bryden Werner in third, Kurt Van Ottenreed will come home in fourth spot. Then an old drag race between, I think that's Ricardo Rivera and Quapono Patrick, who have come home neck and neck.
Brilliant stuff from all involved there. I think we might have had Josh Ross unfortunately not make it to the line there. He was running up the order. He was running in 8th place at the time, but we'll have to wait and see what results of that. And of course, it becomes a case now of all of these provisional results, and this is where the mathematicians will get their calculators out, and of course the stewards will see what needs to be decided at that point. What we'll give you tonight will of course be a provisional result, but take nothing away. This is how it all lines up then after that race at Zandvoort.
Yeah, so Michael Menning is your race winner ahead of Jordan Johnson in second, Bryden Werner in third, Kurt Van Ottenreed is in fourth, Zach Doran takes fifth, Tyler Limsnooken in sixth with Ricardo Rivera in seventh, Quapono Patrick is in eighth ahead of Nicholas Iverson in ninth, and Jesse Hoffert in 10th. Then it's Thomas Toomey in 11th out of Drew Swank, who recovers up to 12th. Paul Verbunen in 13th. Shane Ross will get a points finish after his early moment in that race. Then it's Tyler Rosen in 15th, gets one singular point. Aaron Berkey's mistake falls him to 16th, and there'll be a no score for Aaron. Then it's Brad Lane in 17th, Jonathan Moyer in 18th, and Josh Ross coming home in 19th position. So that leaves the calculation of results to occur, and of course the official results will be available on the official HyundaiN Virtual Cup website, and you can check them out there to see who has qualified. We know Michael Moning has, and as the podium comes up on your screen, he is your winner. Jordan Johnson in second and Bryden Werner in third. There'll be no issues with them in terms of qualification. Again, probably Bryden Werner's best performance in this championship, or certainly in my opinion. Jordan Johnson as well, very smart, very precise drive, and great defensive efforts, and a job well done from all three. But Michael Moning, once again, or Michael Menning I should say, once again your deserved winner.
And the clean sweep achieved as well. You know, that's what's most important to Michael Menning. He wanted that, we saw he wanted that, and he's done just that. And now it sets up a really intriguing battle in towards the semi-finals, where you start to get this, we start to get into this stage of, well, what's going to happen at those later stages. I'm very much looking forward to it. And of course, we get to set up some great Titanic battles across all the regions at some point further down the line as well. That's really what I'm looking forward to. But yeah, there was no stopping Menning in his form, in his prime here today.
Yes, and we're going to hear from a couple of drivers now. We are going to hear firstly from the third place man, Bryden Werner. Let's chat to him. Hello, Bryden.
Yes, I can hear you.
Congratulations on the podium, third place. You really gave it everything for second, however.
Yeah, me and Jordan know each other, so I expected a little bit of battling and stuff, because he likes to battle, but I think third is a great result. Got points to get through the next round, and while I had fun battling, I was also trying not to take each other out, because I know we both want to make it. But yeah, it was a really fun race.
Yes, into the next round, yourself and Jordan. Are you looking forward to it?
I am. I do like the tracks that goes to next, as well as I'm excited to put a little more time into setup and everything because it's kind of close between the past 2 rounds. But I had fun with the series, and I'm excited to the next race.
Yeah, we've spoken to some drivers previously, and they say setting up this car compared to others is very, very different. What's your experience in that?
I don't have much experience on Assetto Corsa, so I can't really attest to that since I've never actually made setups for any other simulator or even car on this game. But I will say, getting used to driving a front-wheel drive car has been interesting because I've always historically raced GT3 and rear-wheel drive cars, so having to fight the front a little more is just a different experience that's been a fun learning curve.
And then for those at home who are looking for, say, biggest difference between the GT3 and the TC, or what would you pick?
It's honestly just the throttle application and the feeling in the wheel, because with the rear-wheel drive car, it kind of snaps when you're sliding on throttle, and with the front-wheel drive car, it kind of pushes, so you get a completely different feeling to braking of traction and overdriving than you would in a rear-wheel drive car. But also saving it. When you slide, you steer the way you want to go and mash the throttle, which luckily I haven't had to do yet, but yeah, we'll see what my reactions are like if that happens.
Braden, congratulations, and thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Now we will hear from our second place driver, Jordan Johnson, with a fabulous performance once again, and granting him qualification into the next round. Jordan, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you loud and clear.
Congratulations, second place tonight. Braden was telling us that you were both looking forward to a bit of battling, and we got that.
Yeah, definitely a nice opportunity to sharpen the knives a little bit and just get some experience running hard with these cars. And yeah, just happy to be back up in podium positions. Two sessions in a row. I know last time I got knocked down by a penalty, but I think we're a little bit safe this time. Had a pretty clean but really aggressive race.
Yeah, that's qualifying into the next round for you. What are you going to do now to guarantee potentially a spot in the World Final?
Just full steam ahead to the next couple of rounds. It's going to be 2 tracks that I'm pretty comfortable with. I think Zandvoort was really the bogey track for me coming into the series, so it's really funny that it's probably my best result so far. For the most part, I've been splitting duties with a lot of other series coming in through the qualifiers, and finally have a chance to now focus on the next couple of rounds and just really kind of make sure I'm on pace. Maybe try to give Michael a run for his money in the semifinals, but we'll see how it goes from there. Definitely a lot of prep, a lot of time that we have to put in to try to catch up with them.
Yeah, you mentioned giving Michael a challenge. Do you have any track that you think you could be on par with him?
Well, Mugello was supposed to be that track. It's probably one of my favorite tracks. We're really, really happy with that track. But I think really, I seem to be really strong in the heavy braking zones compared to most of the other guys. So I think maybe a Red Bull Ring will look pretty strong for me. But Michael definitely seems to have a little bit more finesse once you're needing to roll off the brakes. He seems to be really dialed into what this car needs for those sections.
So Jordan versus Michael in the Red Bull Ring. We look forward to it. Jordan, congratulations and thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
And now we will hopefully hear from the man of the hour in a moment. Race win once again in the main race. It is Michael Benning, who we hopefully will hear from in our final interview of this evening. A clean sweep once again, of course. Hello, Michael, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Look, dominance once again.
Pretty solid feeling races there. Feeling pretty similar to the last day. I wasn't, again, looking at the EU races yesterday. It was pretty scary, but managed to slightly figure it out for the races today, but yeah, pretty happy with my pace compared to everyone here. But you always know there's that last half a second left that compared to EU, so I know I've got space to improve there for sure.
So is your mindset heading into the next round more challenging the EU guys rather than just getting into the next stages like the other US drivers?
I want to know that I could be comfortably competing anywhere. That's what makes me the happiest, and I think that's what gives me the most amount of pace when I have confidence like that going into any kind of race. So definitely going to be looking to try to put up more similar times compared to them in the next few races in Red Bull Ring and Silverstone. Ones I'd feel a lot more confident on, especially Red Bull Ring. And the setups have been, at least for Mugello and Zandvoort, they were interesting for me to make. So I think it'll be a little bit more straightforward going into those races, which I'd be happy with.
And we were talking to Jordan there, and he said he thinks your strongest point is rolling off the brakes. What would you say your best trait is in the last few races?
Probably just taking care of the front like as much as you can. You really can't push too hard. As soon as you push too hard going into a corner, the front's gonna overheat or start slipping, and you just plow. You just go straight. So you really got to take care of that front, especially Zandvoort and Mugello. The front left is red the entire lap. It's like 120 Celsius the entire lap, and it's a struggle. So you got to make it last the entire lap, and I think that is where a lot of my pace has been.
Michael, congratulations. All our US viewers are now in the stream chat putting their hopes in you to take it to the European racers. So I wish you good luck with the country on your back, and congratulations on the win once again.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Kieran, very interesting to hear from Michael and the guys. It was interesting. Jordan and Bryden kind of just set their thoughts on the next round, where Michael is thinking of, let's face it, the world final.
Yeah, it's great confidence from Manning there, as we heard from him. You know, great to see such confidence in a driver, but he can definitely take that momentum on with him to those finals. He's got to get there first, though, because as we've seen with a couple of other drivers, it's a case of getting there is key, is most important, but Manning is there now, and he can focus fully on the next set of rounds.
Yes, and I suppose the focus for those in the US region now just has to be trying to get as close to him rather than beating him, because if they get too fixated on trying to beat him, they might make silly mistakes and cost themselves potentially a spot in South Korea.
Well, that's it, yeah. It's harsh to say silly mistakes, but that's what they would be in the end. You know, you can't afford, if you've shown the pace here, and if you've shown it time and time again, and you've managed to pull away from the rest of the US competition, and all the other regions are going to take note of that. They're all going to be looking at you. You know, we might have some EU drivers who are here right now, or some European region drivers here right now, just taking a scout and seeing maybe what's up ahead. That should be intriguing, and the amount of research that goes into sim racing is phenomenal. It really is.
Yeah, to be fair, 4:30 in the morning for some of the Europeans' research is kind of what I expect from sim racers, to be honest. That's kind of the level I get at. But folks, that is it for our USA Regional Qualification Day 2 and our USA Regional Qualifications. 20 drivers will be moving on to the regional semi-finals, and you can find out the names of those drivers on, of course, the official HyundaiN Virtual Cup website. But Kieran, any final thoughts?
I mean, I've really enjoyed the US region. They provided us some really good racing battle out there. It's been door to door. I mean, the battle between Johnson, Werner, Van Orten, Reed, I mean, that was brilliant. And even further down the order, we had battles for 10th and 11th place at one point in the race. And just towards the end there, in the final 4 minutes, we weren't really sure where to look. All the gaps were sort of really Constantina, you know, really closing up together and making it really tough to pick a battle towards the end there. So I'd much rather have a headache about too many battles out on track. It was fantastic to watch.
Yes, it was absolutely brilliant, and we expect nothing less from the Korean and Chinese regions, and then of course our regional semi-finals for all the regions. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel here, folks, to keep up to date with all our live broadcasts for the HyundaiN Virtual Cup. Well, folks, thank you very much for watching. We will see you again soon. Stay safe, stay well, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.